folks, and welcome back. Today I have here a Ford Fiesta ST, the Mark 8 version, the current car. And as I'm sure you know, some of you know that I really like this car. It's really good. Very good to drive. However, like the previous generation Mark 7 Fiesta ST, they're really well known in the tuning performance market, and this car's got the 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. Now obviously it's missing a cylinder compared to the old car, and in the tuning world a lot of people were a bit worried that you ain't going to get as much power out of these. However, there is only so much you'd want to do in a front wheel drive chassis. Now Pumaspeed have done a remap on this car. Now it's running 245 horsepower, 300 newton meters of torque, and it's also got a Miltek exhaust. Now I want to see what this car's like to drive, because in stock form it's actually really nice. In fact, it could take another 40 extra horsepower, which this car has already got. So let's have a little walk around, because it's obviously got an interesting wrap, and it's also got a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, let's go straight into it. Okay, so obviously each to everyone's taste. It's got the Pumaspeed sort of sticker wrap going on down the side. It looks like a rally car refugee. It's also got the Pumaspeed side skirts, which is down here. Stock, because obviously it's got the performance wheels at the front. As you can see, it's got a few other bits and pieces, different intercooler. It's pretty sweet, isn't it? Like I said, Pumaspeed aren't always about aesthetics, they're more about the performance. So it's got the little lip spoiler at the rear. Now I quite like that, because as I mentioned before, I'm not really a fan of the rear of the Fiesta ST. It's very hard to distinguish this to a ST line, so that sort of makes a difference. If that was colour coded on a standard car, that would actually look pretty neat. Over here you've also got the Miltek exhaust pipe. You need to hear it, because it is absolutely hilarious. But overall it's pretty alright. The conditions today pretty damp. I'm up north, so it's about 2 degrees. Christmas Eve as well, so if you guys are watching this on Christmas Day, this was filmed on Christmas Eve, so call it a Christmas special Ford Fiesta ST. Anyway, let's go for a drive, see what this is like. Woo! It is nippy out there. Right then, Ford Fiesta ST. I've been on the world launch earlier in the year, where I drove an ST3 performance pack car, ran the brilliant Route Napoleon. I've also taken a UK press car a couple of months ago over to the Nürburgring Nordschleife and did a few laps around there. So I think I am qualified to know the differences about this car. Start it up. Everything seems to be quite normal, but if you go into the driving modes, Pumaspeed have mapped the tuning upgrades to the driving modes. So in sport, opens the valves a little bit more, and if you hear the exhaust, I mean it's got a crackle map on it. It sounds pretty outrageous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off slow, he says, and sort of rank up the driving modes and see how this car behaves, because it's been loaded a little bit. It's had a few mild bits going on, but what I'm concentrating on today is the map. See what it's like. Does it create any traction issues? Is it worth having? We're going to find out. Okay, so on the move with the Fiesta ST, in normal driving, doing sensible speeds. Well, there's hardly much difference between the standard car and this. It rides just that little bit firmer, but obviously because it's sitting a little bit lower, everything seems to be pretty normal. Seems like a normal car. Okay, we've done that normal bit out of the way. Let's knock it into sport, race. That obviously turns the traction control into the halfway house. Let's see what she's like. Is it me, or does this sound like a BMW M4 with an M Performance exhaust? that's outrageous. Woo! That's pretty insane. So it's obviously running 245 horsepower, which is around about 45 more than the stock car. 300 newton meters as well, which comes in the mid-range RPM. I don't know the exact torque curve figures, but it just feels really good. Stock turbo, so it's got the Rax turbocharger, so it seems to be pretty instant in response. But the noise is just outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Last one, the Mark 7, it had a lot to live up with, and when they announced that this car was going to be a 3-cylinder, in the tuning world, everybody started to panic a little bit. They wasn't going to think that they're going to get a load of power out of it. Now, I've driven quite a few high-powered Fiesta STs, some running to 320 horsepower. In all fairness, it's all great, but again, I think it just overwhelms the front wheels ever so slightly. It's nothing out of the ordinary. What I am amazed by is the noise. Seriously, that sounds like a BMW M4 with a bit more pops and bangs. Like, seriously. Miltek exhaust, well, around town it is just that little bit too much, but I'm sure you could put a valve in there somewhere and you could just play about with it. But if you drive it relatively sensibly, yeah, you can not piss off too many people. But it is cool. It is cool. I just like how sudden the surges of power, man. Just love how nippy the car is as well too. 245 horsepower out of a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder. Now, that's like Ford Focus RS Mark 1 nevertheless. And the noise. Yeah. Woo! Yeah, this is sick. I like this. And so, to summarise the Pumaspeed Ford Fiesta ST, it's just that light enhancement on the tune, really. Let's just take away the Miltek exhaust, because obviously, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really cool. It sounds pretty hilarious. It's properly awesome. But the map is really good. You don't need any changes, because obviously, because it's the Mark 8 Fiesta ST, and obviously if you spec it with the Quaife limited slip differential, it can take another 40 extra horsepower, so it's a nice enhancement. What I will say is get a Miltek exhaust as well, because that's just brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Not too sure on pops and bangs, but you know, the overall vocal noise is fantastic. Anyway, check out Pumaspeed. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you have a good Christmas. Take care.